Recently my sister had a car accident and fortuitously she had a dash camera fitted to the car. And I've been thinking for a rather long time that I ought to fit one to the Mazda MX5. There's also been a change of law where concerning using mobile phones for navigation, and I tend to use my mobile these days to navigate by. The changes in the law, there's two aspects of it. First of all is that neither of these devices should obscure the view of the driver. And the second thing is that nowadays you can't in any way handle the phone while you're driving. Against the law, heavy fines and points on your license. Now here's the problem with the Mazda, and let me show you. So the problem we got is inside the cockpit of the MX5, and from the driver's point of view, the view out of the front windscreen is already obscured by this rear view mirror. And then by the time you pull down the sun visors on each side, it becomes even worse. So you can imagine putting a dash camera perhaps on a suction pad, somewhere like this, or using your mobile phone for navigation, again, somewhere on the dash, maybe on the screen. The police could quite easily say you're obscuring the view and therefore prosecute you and give you points on your license, which of course we don't want. So where to position? Let's start with the dash camera. Seems to me the best places are behind the sun visor or behind the mirror. And in terms of the mobile for navigation, I don't like anywhere up on the dash at all, but I have found a bracket which allows me to mount it down by the radio here, and it seems to me that's perfectly fine for my needs. So I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to need 12 volts power for this camera, and the logical place to get that 12 volts is from the fuse box, which is inside the car in the footwell of on the passenger side. Now there are two columns of fuses. The very top set of fuses, this is 12 volts switched through the ignition, whereas the bottom set are permanent 12 volts. I want switched power, so I'm going to be hooking into one of these fuses. This one here, the 7.5 amp, is intended for air conditioning. I don't have air conditioning, I have a folding roof, so that's the one I'm aiming for. Now this is the starting point for the cable, and I'm then going to have to follow a route up in behind here, in through the glove compartment. There's a nice bit of access in the back here, and that actually might be very useful space for hiding some equipment away. And then I'm going to come up the A-pillar, cross over this fascia at the top, and my aim is to get to where I fix the metal button here. This is where the camera is going to mount. I'm going to start then by removing the glove compartment, which is really easy on this car. First of all, there's a little pull cord here which is for, I think, the light switch inside. Take that off, push in this side and the other side. There's little lugs here, let it fall down, and then it just pulls off like that. Before I start taking anything more apart, the manual actually says that you should mark the position of these locating pockets for the roof. So let's mark them. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape there, and there, like that. To get the A-pillar out, then we've got to undo these two Torx 40 screws. This should just pull away. If we just gently, there it goes. I don't need to pull it down too far, I just need to ease it back a little bit. There we are. That's probably enough because I can fish a cable up from down the bottom there. So to get the fascia out, if you look underneath the sun visors on both sides, you'll see this Torx 30 here. Just loosen that off. We don't need to take the whole fascia down, I'm just going to loosen it. So I'm using a Garmin dash cam, very compact. I used one on the Mondeo, it's absolutely perfect. And the bits I'm going to use in the kit came this connecting lead. It's got the micro USB on one end, and I suppose you call it a cigarette lighter plug or 12-volt outlet plug on the other end. So I'm going to use that to go from the camera down to inside the glove box, and then I bought myself a 12-volt outlet. So this is just going to plug in there like that, and on the end of it though I've used one of these adapters. Essentially they have two fuse sockets. The first fuse that you can see in here at the moment, that links between this pin here and the wire which will be used for my dash camera, whereas the second fuse socket replaces the existing fuse and just links between that pin and that pin. Quite good, saves you soldering. So I've tied or taped the cable onto this rod and just put it straight on up. And there we are. That's the first part done. So here's my camera in position and my cable. And I now want to get the length right. So I'm going to plug that in there. I want to give it a little bit of spare cable. Now, because I've loosened off the face here, I can just ease that down a little bit, poke the cable in behind, and then just work my way along. Like that. Straighten this up a bit. Well, we've done fairly well because we've managed to get this cable at least from the glove compartment all the way up to the screen. Now the next game is to get this cable through to the fuse box, and there's actually a hole just inside the glove box. You can see my fingers just poking out there, and there's another hole above the fuse box there as well. So I'm just going to thread that cable through. So I've taken the 7.5 amp fuse out and I've put it into this block here. And do you remember I said the live has to be that pin? Well, I've also measured the fuses here, and the positive side to this fuse is actually on that side. So I have to put this cable in that way round. If you put it in the other way, you get no power, or it's incorrectly fused. So I've put the earth onto that bolt there. The final test then. Turn on. And here we come, Garmin coming up. There we are. Right, we're up to fitting the mobile phone to the car. I've gone out and bought this bracket from a company called Brodit. I'll leave a link in the description below. But essentially this company seems to make these brackets for particular make and models of cars. So you have to dial in my case Mazda MX5, and this is the bracket they sent me. Now, it doesn't come with a holder as such, so you have to buy that separately. And I've gone out and bought this one, which is a universal holder. Squeezes in, press the button, out it pops. Whoops, let's open it all the way. There we go. There's little feet at the bottom, and essentially your mobile phone sits in there and stays nice and permanent. On the back of the bracket there's this that clips in, and then this plate will bolt to this bracket. So just having a look at the back of this bracket, there are sticky pads here, and there's a clip affair here and another clip affair here, and the idea is that it clips onto this piece of this panel here. Now this panel will come away quite easily. Just pull it out like this, and it's going to fit kind of like that. Now if I put the thing together, like, in you go, like that. That is actually holding very firmly without the need of the sticky pads whatsoever. So my thought here is I don't really want to leave sticky pads on these panels in case at any time I want to remove this bracket. So I'm just going to dry fit it really. I think the clips will hold it quite nicely. So next step, I think I'm going to put the bracket on and then clip it all together and pop it back in, and that should be it done. And here we are. I've fitted the holder to the bracket. I'm going to fit the bracket now to the panel, and hopefully that will be like, there we are, like that. And then I should be able to just simply push this back into place, and there we are. And my phone will go like that, and I'm going to adjust it so that it looks nice, and this is how it ends up looking, which I think is good enough. Well, there we are. I've got the mobile phone nicely fitted into the car, and the dash camera's up in behind the mirror. Everything's nicely powered, all the cables are nicely hidden as well, so I'm very pleased with that. I hope you found the video interesting, and think about subscribing as well. Leave some comments, good or bad, doesn't matter. I always enjoy reading the comments, and it's good for them. And I'll catch you on the next one, whatever that video might be. Bye for now.